Hello, my name's Jason and welcome to a very exciting episode of me painting a masterpiece. Well, trying to anyway. So let's have a look to see where we've got to. Hit it. Nice beards. So here we are, and you see what I'm doing here? It's what I call the flipbook approach, where you stick a picture on top of, like I've done there, I've put the reference picture on top of my painting and just keep turning it over and over to see what it looks like. And you notice on my palette in the corner I've got some linseed oil, and the reason is when you're doing oil paintings there's me flipping again. There. It does work though. I mean, every time you flip, you get to see something that you haven't done quite right, and then you do it again. Oh, the sink of the sink is quite a little bit out on the palette with the painting, but never mind. I just wanted to show you the oil really, and the reason why I'm using linseed oil. This is the because we're doing oil painting, even though you're using water mixable oils, they still pretty much behave the same way as normal oils. There's only a minor difference in the makeup, and so every layer of paint has to be oilier than the previous layer for it to not crack and break. So you can't just paint out of the tube each layer, basically. You just got to put a little bit of oil in, say a drop of oil in, and then 2 drops of oil, 3 drops, 4 drops after each layer. You let it dry each time, which is what I've been doing. While I've been doing oil eye, this painting has been drying, so I'm able to do layers on top, and so here we are again, building up this face, and it's been a real challenge to get this face to look right. It still doesn't look exactly like the original, but I keep going. This is a technique I picked up, putting paint down and then using a paper towel to take paint off. You've seen me do it in a previous episode of painting this, and it's become very useful for me to do other paintings as well. I've started using that same technique if I'm doing it in layers, and it does work really well. It's amazing that I never really done it. I suppose most of the time I do paintings in one go. I have done quite a few portraits where I've not done it in one go, and I'm surprised I've not used this technique before, because it's so good, so good. And I actually got it from this the idea from a chap called Tom Keating, a master art forger. And obviously if you're gonna forge paintings you need to know how they did it, and he learnt how, you know, the masters painted, and his book's really useful actually if you're into painting. I mean, if you have issues with him being a forger, just know that he was only selling his paintings for like 50 quid or something. He wasn't making a bomb on them, and he would also write on the canvas in big letters, fake. So, and then do his painting on top of it. So if anyone x-rayed it, which is what they do when they're testing paintings, it would say fake. I just find the whole art forgery thing really interesting. So what I'm doing really is building up my portrait now. Little bits of yellow ochre, little bits of the red, and just really looking and trying to think what's colours I've not got and what colours I have got, and really try and get it close. And so I'm putting it on really thin, paint, and then using the paper towel to take it off, and then using my flipbook technique. Every time I think of the flipbook technique makes me want to do animations. If you've seen the trailer for the Van Gogh movie, where they've done it all in paintings, how exciting is that? A movie done with oil paintings. I think that's amazing. Makes me want to do one. I never thought of doing one in oils before. Would be a real challenge. You could manipulate it a bit though. You could like do the landscape and then you could animate something on the landscape, a bit like Disney style, where they had a background and then they'd animate one of their characters running along it, and then they would photograph each one. I'll think about that. Anyway, back to this. So the nose, I really struggled with that nose, and if I didn't have this flipbook technique, I'd never have got it looking alright, well, acceptable. And look at the difference. I had it in like in a position that was, well, it was off. So was that mixing some red now? I think I was going for the lips, and of course using the reference to work on your colours helps, because when you're mixing colours, if you don't have any reference that's close by, I mean, how can you do it? I can't believe, like, for a long time I tried not to use reference, or I didn't have the internet, so the access to reference was harder, because you have to go to the library and get books and stuff and use reference in that way. And when I was first learning to paint, I did that a lot, going to the library and getting DVDs out and videos out on painting, because they had the art section, and it was all outdated, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Art's not changed that much, really. There's minor changes in the materials that we use, but it's not changed that much. So I didn't mind watching these old videos of painters telling you how to do stuff. But yeah, I used to get VHSs out, and then I'd get these books as well, and I'd try and follow along, and it's kind of instilled in me this need to look in books still. Even though the internet is here and you can use Google, I still need to look in books. I guess I like books. Yeah, so I think my Susanna is looking a bit happier now. You can see as I've slowly added a bit of colour here, a little bit there, a little bit of white, and then I used my finger to blend the paint a lot. I do that a lot. I'm drinking a lot because I've been doing my boxing. I do some training. I say boxing, I actually do kung fu. So anyway, here we go. Moving on the chin, the neck. Just trying to look for these subtleties in colour, in the colour changes, and look at the little bits of light. And the brush strokes are amazing in this picture, and not in mine. In Rubens' original, when I look really close at the brush strokes, they amaze me. They're so perfect. Considering this painting is supposedly unfinished, well, I suppose you can tell the background's unfinished. It's really good. Kudos to the master painters of old. They were so good. Oh, quick change. We're on to the other part of the nose. The sinking's off again with me mixing. You see that little pot in the bottom corner? That's got my oil in, so I can dip my brush in that and try and prevent this painting from cracking, basically. Yeah, I'm building up the lips a bit more. So what I thought to myself is I used a lot of the Cadmium Red Deep in the clothing, and my idea is if Rubens had a palette of colours to do this painting, he'd probably use the same colours everywhere. That's what you do, really. If you're painting, you put your palette of colours on your palette, put your paints on your palette, and paint with that, don't you? You don't use a load of other colours unless you think, oh, this colour isn't working, then you put that on your palette. But generally, if you're pretty good, which Rubens would have been, is he would have used a specific palette of colours and then he wouldn't have veered off from it, I doubt. So I was thinking to myself, I should really use Cadmium Red Deep in the lips as well, rather than using like an Alizarin Crimson or something, because that's what I used in the clothes and it was pretty accurate. So I try and think of things like that. Simple things, really. Trying to get in the mind of a master painter. Just think about how anybody would do something. Problem with watching myself, I can see the errors clearer on the video, where when you're painting, it's such a challenge, isn't it? So I can see that nose error. I'll have to look at the painting, actually. But I am happy with where I've got to. Very happy, because I did start to think, is this beyond me? And I think having a break from working on it, it has helped me out, because I don't feel as picky now. where when you're working on it all the time and that's the only painting you're working on, you start getting, I mean I do, I'm not saying everybody does, but I start getting a bit too into it. A bit over the top on the level that I should paint it at. I start thinking that I should be able to paint it exactly the same and as good as Rubens, when reality is I'm no way going to be able to paint it as good as Rubens. Not only have I not had as much painting practice as Rubens, but also I'm not a natural artist. You know, it's hard work for me. I've got to keep working hard to be good. I'm not a natural, and I never believed that I am a natural, but I find it interesting and I enjoy it, so I do it. And if you don't think you're a natural, it doesn't mean you can't work at it and practice and paint and be able to do something like this. You would be able to, no problem. It's just time and effort, isn't it? That's the way I see it, anyway. I don't know why that amuses me, but it does. Is this eye? I do love the way oil paint can be manipulated. I remember when I first started reading about paints and stuff, and I was like, oh, should I use watercolours? Shall I use acrylic? Shall I use oils? Shall I just use inks and stuff instead? Markers. Maybe I'll stick with markers. And I used to read a lot in the many books that I read on art, and they all said that oil paint was the easiest to manipulate. I mean, we're talking books that were probably pre the acrylics that you can get now. Getting the ruler out. Yeah, because I know that there's a lot more mediums out available for acrylic painters, so you can do a lot more manipulation, can't you, with acrylics than you used to be able to. But even me now, I would still go with that thought that oils are the most forgiving medium, because when you think you can just improve things the way I'm doing and doing level layers, I mean you can do that with acrylics as well, can't you? But I can keep improving it like this, so that's pretty awesome, isn't it, as a medium. Also, if it goes wrong, I can just wipe it off and start again, which is pretty good. Can't really do that with acrylics. You have to paint over it, don't you? But if you do really thick paint with acrylic and then it's dry on your canvas, so it dries pretty fast, then you're a bit stuck, where if you do thick paint with oils, you can just whip it off with a knife. So you know, each to their own material, isn't it? You might like acrylics or you might like oils. When you get used to them, like Clive has got used to his paints, you can do all sorts of things. The reason I cut that out so it's exactly the shape of the face is so I could see if mine is right, see if the head shape is right. Yeah, the face has really come along a long way, and the more little goes I've had at it, the better it's got. And there's been times when I've looked at it and I just don't want to paint, because I'm like, I look at it and I think, oh, why doesn't mine look as good as the original? I don't want to do this anymore, it's not working out. And I've kind of got to battle a little bit with myself, and doing the oil eye, it gave me a break from the painting, and it's helped, because now I'm back at it and I'm back to feeling pretty good about it. I've got more of a realistic mind going into it this time. I'm still going to try and do the best I can, but I've got to be realistic. I'm no Rubens. Maybe in amuses me. Can you imagine the painters of the past doing something like that? Look at that though. By using that technique, it's made the eye more correct. And I was really struggling with that eye placement. And that's something you can do if you've got a commission and you're finding it hard to paint the eyes. Do that, and then you can go have a look and keep putting it down. And it's good for any placement of anything, really, as long as your printout's the same size, of course. Then you can check it. It's a great technique because there's nothing worse than spending a couple of hours on a picture, really refining your details and stuff, and then realizing the nose is off or one of the eyes is slightly off. So I noticed there was a bit of yellow ochre in the colour of the eye there, so I put it in. And here we are glazing the hand. I'm using yellow ochre and oil and just going over the whole hand. I did it really pale actually, these hands. I didn't realise how pale I did it until I re-looked at it. And now I'm taking the paint off and it's setting the hands into the painting a bit more. And then a little bit of reds and browns. This is the glazing, and I'm really getting into the glazing. Just tinting it a little bit, and then using the paper towel to take off anything you don't want. The master painters, they used to use a sponge to remove paint that they didn't like, and used to sponge it off. Yeah, I'm just mixing the colours of the ring. It was a yellow ochre and a bit of burnt umber and a little bit of black, I think. It's quite easy. When you've mixed a few colours, you get used to them. The more paintings you do, obviously, the better you get at mixing. And I feel like I'm getting fairly good at colour mixing now. And I found it really hard when I first started colour mixing, but like anything, you just practice, and then you can go start. Once you get used to it a bit, you can get really lazy, and you can start thinking when you're looking at stuff, you can go, oh, that looks a little bit like olive green. Oh, I've got olive green here, pre-mixed, and I'll just use it now. Oh, I've got up and gone again. Come back again. Job, this is sped up. So putting little bits of highlights in the ring. You see that I look at this and I think, well, I'm not doing the angle of the ring right. I've made the ring a little bit poorly angled there. I've improved it a bit now, but it's still not right. You see, this perfectionist mentality, it's dangerous. You'll end up working on a painting forever, won't you? And who's got the time to keep working on a picture forever? Unless you're getting paid loads for a painting. You've got to think about that as well, really. Time. That stone does look good in the ring there. Pat myself on the back for that bit. Now I'm adding little bits of colour. I'm looking at the hand, looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up. Yeah, I'll put the painting out so I can see it, so I keep looking at it. Yeah, I noticed that I could like add these bits of red in the skin and just press on it and it mixes nicely in the oil, and that technique I can use in all sorts of things now. Now I know about that. I do love softening things. Softening it with your finger. Yeah, this painting, when you get close to it, you can see all the brush strokes and stuff, which is another thing I like about it. But in the original, you could do that as well. You can see. Oh, pardon me. You can see a lot of the brush strokes. I'm going to go see the original soon with Clive when we go for a trip to London, and we'll be looking at all the great paintings of the past. Constables, the Rubens, the Renoirs. Hand, quick, put the hand on there, measure it, check it, see if it's right. It's amusing. And then we need to do that sleeve bit, which is the next job. And I'm mixing colours now. I haven't got my palette on these. I don't know why I didn't record the palette. When you're painting, just painting, when I was doing this, and a lot of the times when I do paintings, my mind is so focused on the picture, I forget things. I'm so zoned in, and it's just the only thing I think about is this. And it's quite a good meditative practice. That's a word. It's like thinking meditation painting, because it just throws your mind into the painting and working, and nothing else is happening during that time. Totally escaping reality in a way. God, that red colour is nice. That really is good. I started blending it in, and I started to realise if I want a colour to be a really nice, deep, strong red like that, I could do the red colouring, and then I could leave it to dry and then do a glaze of red on top of it to strengthen the colour. Or anything. You could do that, do a glaze to strengthen it. So I remember I used a bit of Naples Yellow in my white there, just to tone it. Oh, hello. Now we've got the ribbony bits. Still use, because I thought to myself, I've got this on my brush now, I might as well use it and finish that bit off. So you're kind of working around the painting. When you've got a certain colour on, you can use it and work on it. I decided with this bit is to put the mid-tone in first, and then I could do the lights on top. I could have probably done that in one sitting, but I decided, yeah, I remember, my decision to do it separately was because of the red. I didn't want to get any red in my white and then end up blending pinks and stuff. So it worked out quite good doing it that way. Now we're working on the open shirt area. Remember, this is just natural. There's nothing rude about this painting. If you're a little bit immature like I am, you'll giggle and stuff when you look at these sort of pictures. But in the museums you do get like a lot of nudity. In fact, when I went to the portrait gallery, and there was showing the portrait gallery competition, I was shocked at the nudity factor that was going on in there. I thought it was crazy, actually. I mean, half the paintings were nude women in there. Like, it was a bit over the top, I thought. And it wasn't just because the women wasn't attractive images, but it was because, like, why? That's what always confuses me a little bit when I went life drawing, and why I always have naked people. When are you ever gonna have to paint someone naked? I mean, really, in like a working environment, let's say, you're not gonna get someone saying, "Oh, hello, I'd like you to paint me like one of your French girls." It's just not gonna happen, is it? You're not gonna get someone asking for a portrait like that, and also you're not gonna get someone, well, I don't think, someone saying, "Oh, can you paint me naked, and I'll give it out as a present for someone." You're just not gonna do, you're just not gonna get that. So it doesn't make a lot of sense why in the portrait gallery they were awarding all these artists that paint naked people. I don't know. It's all a bit weird, isn't it? I understand the idea of learning the human form so you can create your own people, because that's why the masters did it. They didn't do it, well, this is my thought anyway. The masters learned how to paint nudes so they know the human body, and then they could create people in their paintings, and that's as simple as that, I thought. Not just to paint nude people just for the fun of it and enter them in competitions just because they can. No, there was a reason for it. That's my view anyway. Anyway, back to this. Back to these nice bosoms. Oh dear. So I was happy when I got this shirt, open shirt painted in, because it was bothering me a bit that that area wasn't painted. I wanted it all to have paint on it. And then after doing this shirt bit, I go over the black areas again with like a thin black paint, which I didn't get on camera because of minor issue. But basically I was filming myself doing this hat bit, then I moved the camera, and then I missed like everything else. So yeah, oops. But it's just painting black over areas, and then the other bit that's missing is me doing the rest of this hat. I'm like getting the black paint there, twizzling my brush, and then go up to here and then just throw the line on in this stroke. So I thought, when I realised that I'd bodged the camera in photography up, I'll show you how I did it, so you know how at least. I do need to improve it when it's dry, so I will do it again on the next episode. But yeah, just getting that rounded stroke and just loading my brush and throwing it on there. But it's really starting to come along, the painting. It's coming along. You can see there's loads of strokes of paint there. Loads of white grey colour. Whoa, zoom out. Okay, so that's it. That's the as far as I've got, and I need to do just a little bit more. I need to put the earrings in and sweep the hair out and do a little bit of background clouds and just some really small bits of work. But that's it so far, so thanks very much for watching it, and don't forget to press like. Oh, you know how it goes anyway. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in another one. Cheers, bye.